that this guy, Caleb, he knew what it was to trust in God. He knew what it was. He was one of the 12 spies that went out. And of the 12 that returned, he was one of the 2 that said, we can do it. Did you see the grapes? The other 10 said, there are giants and we like grasshoppers. And he was one of the 2 that said, God is with us. Their protection is gone, but the Lord is with us. What do we have to fear, people of God, because the Lord is with us? And he said, you know what? I'm going to trust in God. And he brought back a good report. And that day when he brought back the good report, the whole assembly was turned by the 10 that brought back the bad report. There were 10 that brought back a negative report, and they turned 1 million people. Do you know that in this nation of 4 million people, there's more than 2 people in this room? And if we were to bring a good report of what it is to trust in God, if we were to bring back a good report of what the Lord is doing on the earth, to get that scandal and that rumor mill going like Carl was talking about, that perhaps things will shift in our nation, that perhaps 2 people in this room, perhaps hundreds of people in this room, perhaps thousands of people, and people watching on TV right now would bring change to where they are because they trusted in the Lord wholeheartedly. You know, I'm a mum of 2 gorgeous kids, and you may be aware, but in Wellington here in New Zealand in the summer we had a drought. And at school, the kids were starting to get concerned because we'd emptied out one of our dams for earthquake strengthening, as it turns out. Not a good idea to empty a dam in summer. And we'd emptied out this dam, and we had one dam that was functioning, and we started to get to 10 days of water left in the dam, and people were panicking. We were on water restrictions, and the kids at school were starting to get all worked up about this. Oh, we're going to run out of water. We're going to run out of water, and people were panicking, and I said to my kids, it's going to be fine, you know. We've got lots of water. We can go and buy water from the shop, you know. And I was like, the council will truck in water. You know, we're not going to die. But they were like convinced. They became convinced by their peers. They became convinced by the circumstances that everything was bad. And I'll never forget the Sunday that we were in the car pulling away from the Michael Fowler Centre, and it started to rain. And my little son, Will, in the back seat, piped up to his sister, Lara. Oh, Lara, look at the rain. She's like, oh, yes, Will. And he's like, oh, Lara, it's so good that we're not going to die now. I'm like, I've been telling you, you're not going to die. I've been saying to you, you're not going to die. You know, sometimes in our Christian faith, God is in the driver's seat. Hello? We've surrendered our life to the Lordship of Christ, and He's in the driver's seat. But we're so busy just having our own little conversation and doubting because we're looking at the circumstance. But God will send rain when we need the rain. He will send provision when we need the provision. He is the one who looks after us. He is with us at all times. And so we can turn our eyes and trust in Him.